Hello and welcome to Georgia Bulldogs Live here on the Georgia Voice of College Football, presented by FanDuel. I'm your host, Matt Green, my co-host over there, Bo Underwood. Bo, how you feeling, sir?
Feeling good, man. Feeling good. No, we don't have a guest star on this week, but yeah, I had a good time looking at the combine and seeing how everybody did, everyone's numbers and stuff. I'm not the biggest combine guy. I don't know why people who sit there and watch the combine for hours as an entertainment product is kind of weird to me, but I do enjoy it at the end of the day looking and seeing how everybody did and stuff. And we had some good Georgia performances last week.
We definitely did. And yeah, I'm kind of with you. I mean, depending on, what's on TV, maybe you have it on in the background. The 40-yard dash, some competitions more exciting than others to watch, but I think I'm with you. Maybe there was a time in my life where I got excited about the combine, but now it's like I do still like it, but I just, as far as watching it live, I can see the results afterwards. And just, I mean, I guess if you want to truly evaluate and you need to see the guys run the drills and some of those numbers won't tell you what you see with your eyes. I don't know. I don't know if anyone's winning any fantasy football leagues based on some extra hours watching the combine. But hey, what do I know?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's for hardcore draft people who are like, I want to see how long this edge rusher's arms are, or I want to see this corner do 3-cone or whatever. But also I was watching. I turned on the TV and they had quarterbacks throwing, and I kind of thought to myself, what are we going to learn here from quarterbacks throwing? Unless a guy just completely messes up a comeback route or something, they're all just wearing compression gear with no defense, no pads, wide open field, and they're just throwing them. I don't know. I think there's a reason the top quarterbacks always opt to not throw at that thing, because it just seems to me like there's not a lot to be gained from that. You can only lose.
Yeah, and I don't know. I guess that's one of my biggest issues with the combine in general. Maybe I'm going to sound like a boomer, get off my lawn type of guy over here, but it's like, is the competition not why you're doing this? It's like, it's crazy the world we now are in sports, where certain things are just like, oh, this is a waste of time, or oh, what do you have to gain by doing that? It's like, because you do that, because that's what everybody does. I don't know. It's just that sort of thing bothers me. Like, how many, 300 guys get invited to the combine? Are we going to need to set parameters on you have to agree to how much you're going to participate at the combine in order to get invited? I don't know. That's one thing that always that started to bother me in recent years, that not everyone does run the 40. Not everyone does, throw or go through the drills or things like that. And some guys have, medical reasons for not doing that. And maybe the biggest part of the combine is just the interviewing with teams. Maybe that's the most important part anyway. But I don't know. It just that part doesn't sit right with me. If you don't want to throw and everything like that, let someone else go to the combine that actually does have something to gain from this.
That's true. And I'm not gonna get mad at a guy like a guy like Mendoza is a lock to go number one. So yeah. But I don't. Is he taking somebody else's spot by electing to not throw, or would him? I don't know how it works.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a limited number of guys at the combine, so I don't know how many 15 quarterbacks were invited, or 25. I don't know the number, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a fringe guy out there that would love to have been invited to the combine, show NFL teams what he could do, and he's not there. He's just going to hope that he gets undrafted free agent contract somewhere or something. I don't know. I mean, I guess there's guys that can get drafted without going to the combine. I guess not necessarily everyone who gets drafted went to the combine, but probably most. But yeah, I don't know. That's that's a small detail. But yeah, I think it's just because I'm honestly I'm almost pro expanding the combine in terms of I'd like to see free agents run. Can we do a free agent combine? Guys have been in the league 5-6 years.
They did that and it was terrible.
Oh, really? They did do that?
They had I don't remember what year this was. It was before my time, really. I think it was 2010 or something. They did an NFL veteran combine and it was just really depressing because it was a bunch of dudes who like had to swallow their pride and go out there and run the 40. And I remember like the famous anecdote from it is like this running back who I cannot remember who this guy is, but I promise this is a true story. He ran like a 4.940 or something like that. It might have been even worse than that.
Oh wow.
And he was like, he looked up at the clock and he was like, "Damn, my career's over." So like, it's that kind of situation, I guess. I don't know.
Wow. Yeah, I see a little bit. Just Googling it real quick. I see a little bit what you're talking about. I did not remember this at all.
Does it say who the running back was? It was a guy who had been around. Like he had played in the league for a few years.
I don't know. I can't give him the article real quick and still carry on a conversation with you. But yeah, that's interesting. I didn't even realize they did that. Yeah, I guess maybe that's what it is. Guys are like, look, don't worry about what my numbers say. All right. I've been in the league for 5 years and I've proven XYZ. Yeah, I kind of assumed guys would continue to get bigger and stronger and faster, like into the league, you know, like, I don't know. Is 21, 22 the most athletic you ever are? Are those your best combine numbers? Or
I kind of think so. Yeah. Well, I'm sure there are some freaks of nature. Like I'm sure if you put like Myles Garrett in the combine right now, he would somehow test even better than he did when he was coming out of A&M. But
I would think so.
Maybe not. But like I'm just using him. Like I'm sure there's some freakazoid guy that has somehow gotten more athletic. But yeah, I would say it has to be 99.99% of the time, like just basic biology. Like, yeah, that kind of is your athletic peak. What, when you're 22, 23?
Maybe, but yeah, to your point, I don't feel like Myles Garrett's gotten slower since 2016, whatever year he got drafted.
He looks better now than
2017. Yeah, for real. I do want to know who this guy was now that you say it. But
it was I know who I found it who it was.
Who was it?
It was Michael Bush, and he ran
Bush. Okay.
He ran a 4.91 and was like, "Shit, there goes my career."
Was it Michael Bush from Arkansas?
I don't know.
I'm thinking Michael Bush.
He went to Louisville.
Louisville. Okay.
He was in the league for he was in the league for like 6 years. Like he had a long career.
Yeah, he was like huge, right? If I remember correctly, like a 6'3", like 240 kind of dude.
He's listed here at 6'1", 245.
Okay.
So yeah, big running back.
So he had a little bit of leeway. It's like you are huge. You necessarily have to break the 40 record or anything to be on a roster, but that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, folks, we appreciate everyone who's tuning in, who's watching on YouTube. You can also catch Georgia Bulldogs live on your favorite audio platforms, including Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify. Check us out and all that good stuff. Tell your friends, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. So yeah, let's go ahead and we already kind of teased the combine, but let's talk about how some Georgia players did in the combine. I would say the guy who has to have done the most for his draft stock, I would say, at the NFL Combine has to be Monroe Freeling. I think most people saw him as a first-round pick, but I think what was the Graham Coffee? Did you see the Graham Coffee tweet about Monroe Freeling's overall score? So the RAS score.
Oh yeah, I bet it was crazy.
So, and just I'll be fully transparent that I don't know what the RAS score is, but it's essentially a cumulative like athleticism score. And there's been 1,512 offensive tackles that have been tested at this since 1987, sir. Do you want to know where Monroe Freeling ranks among the 1,500 plus offensive tackles?
I think I did see this tweet actually.
Yes, second, sir.
That's crazy.
Ever. I don't even know how to interpret that. I don't think Monroe Freeling is the second most athletic offensive tackle ever, but damn, he's got some great measurables and this is just going to do huge things for him. I think this is exactly why we were very disappointed about a guy who is he felt like he was kind of borderline on whether he was going to come back for his senior year at Georgia. Now he went from like first round pick I would think most people are saying he's a likely first round pick to like, okay, he might be the first offensive tackle taken. He might be a top 10 pick. I think this really did a lot for Monroe Freeling.
Yeah, I think so too, man. Because he only has like a year of really solid starting tape or whatever. Because the year before he was moving around the line and looked kind of shaky at times anyway. But he put together a great body of work in 2025. I mean, he was as solid as they come, protecting the left side of the field, I guess. But yeah, this is huge, man. I mean, this is a pretty deep tackle class already. You've got the two guys from Utah. You've got Francis from Miami. You have Proctor out of Alabama. Like, there's a bunch of guys that are kind of being touted as first round guys in this draft. So you really got to do what you can to stand out. And if your measurables are just off the charts, the way that Freeling's were, and he has the good year of tape now, like he might have really played himself into the first round at this combine, or I guess worked out his way into the first round. I'm not sure what you would say there, but yeah, it seems like he's gonna be one of Georgia's highest drafted guys, if not the first off the board for them.
Yeah, maybe tested his way into the first round.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other guy I would say was the biggest. I mean, maybe he's not the biggest mover. Monroe Freeling maybe went from being the 22nd pick to being like the 8th pick, still big time move in terms of money. But I think the guy who may have done the most movement with his testing in terms of where he's going to get drafted, probably Dalen Everett. I think running a sub 4.4, was he at 4.38 was his official time, almost a 38-inch vertical, 6'1", 196. Like, he's got good size, and that's elite speed running sub 4.4. And as good of a player as Dalen Everett was in his time at Georgia, I don't know if anyone saw like that truly elite of speed coming in the combine.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that was not something that was really a talking point for Everett during his Georgia career. I don't think anybody was like, oh, he has like sub 4.4 speed. He was always seen as an athletic guy and a good mover and everything. But I think those raw numbers that he put on show at the combine are yeah, probably not. I mean, the most run of the mill numbers for him. I mean, I feel like that was pretty surprising. It's like, dang, Dalen Everett is really athletic. And I know that, he was guarding the number one receiver on SEC teams for a lot of the time, for a lot of his last couple years in college. So you're gonna let up some yards that way. You're gonna let up some catches that way, just how it is in the SEC. But he always looked like an NFL player to me during his time at Georgia. He was just big, got good length. Obviously, has great athleticism outside of that, as we see. Always seemed like he could hold his own against bigger guys, X receivers, but also could move with some of the smaller, quicker guys that you have over at the Z spot. Zone coverage, I think, is where he falters a little bit. I guess that would be what you would consider his big weakness as a prospect. But the NFL really, really likes their press man corners who are athletic and can go step for step with guys and cover in man coverage. And Dalen Everett absolutely checks that box to me. I mean, I wouldn't be stunned if he went on day 2. I know that he's not a big name, but with how premium a position that is, and just the skill set he has is very coveted by NFL teams. Like, he really helped himself out of the combine, and I'm glad he did, because I thought, I mean, he kind of had first round hype going into the year, and then that kind of petered down as the season went on, but now his draft stock is trending back up again, and I think that's well deserved for Dalen Everett.
Yeah, I think you're right. And when we were talking, when these guys first declared for the draft, I had him as a 4th rounder. You had him as a 3rd rounder. Would you change your projection right now today? You think he gets ahead of the 3rd round?
I think 3rd round is about where I would still have him at. Maybe could move up to the 2nd round, but I think 3rd round is I'd be pretty confident with that.
Yeah, I would say I would move my ranking up a little bit. I'd be surprised if he gets to the 4th round after the tape he's put on, the the play he's put on tape the last 2 years, as well as running a 4.38. I think that'll go a long way for him.
Yeah.
Who else did you think made a huge impact in their draft stock during the combine?
Well, I mean, a lot of those guys didn't. I thought Colby Young. I mean, he ran a 4.49. I thought that was good to see for him because he's another guy that I think really deserves a shot in the NFL, and his college output might not jump off the page to you when you're just looking at the raw numbers, but him, Zachariah Branch, I think validated all of the stuff that people say about his speed. He ran a 4.35, seems about right to me. I saw people say Micah Morris had a good combine. I think his 40 was a lot better than people thought it would be, and he tested well on the bench and everything, and just most of the athletic tests. And then let me see.
29 reps on the bench.
Okay, yeah. And I think those are most of the guys that like worked out. I know a lot of people went and just kind of got measured, and that was all they really did. Oscar Delp wasn't able to do drills because they found out that he played the entire season with a hairline fracture in his foot, which was a crazy story. I think that was nuts. So Oscar Delp is another guy that I think is like going to be a really good NFL player, but didn't really get the chance to shine at Georgia. So I hate that he didn't get to work out at the combine, but maybe it'll be for the best because I think he could really be a really good tight end in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Delp could have shocked some people with the numbers he was going to put up in the combine. I was definitely disappointed by that as well. Bowers didn't run at the combine, did he? I don't think we ever had a 40 time for Bowers.
I don't think we ever got a Brock Bowers 40.
Which that's disappointing. I remember Vernon Davis back in the day was like the most just ridiculous. He was like 6'5", 240, 250, running like a 4.3 something out of Maryland. It was just the most absurd NFL, the most absurd tight end combine we'd ever seen. But yeah, I'm not saying Delp was going to put up Vernon Davis numbers, but yeah, I think 6'5", 245 is pretty similar, and he's definitely super athletic. I think if anything, he became that much more of a steal in the draft, I think, because I think the combine was going to open some people's eyes to how good Delp is. Because the production the last 2 years, I think people might be sleeping on him or think he was disappointing. Maybe what they were, predicting him to follow Brock Bowers and all that, and just what his production actually was. I still think Oscar Delp's a damn good player, and he's going to help someone in the NFL.
Yeah, he's really athletic, loves to block people, loves to just, walk people down in the run game. He can be really good after the catch. You can line him up in line. You could have him be like a big slot if you wanted to. I kind of think his route running is a bit underrated. Like, he just is such a toolsy guy. And I know the production's not there. But like, if the NFL is starting to fall in love with these multi-tight end sets, 12 personnel, and then the Rams had a really good offense this year, running more 13 personnel than anybody. And I don't quite think that that's going to become the new like meta or anything in the NFL, but I do think that Delp could be such a great complementary tight end to somebody. And I mean, we saw that he was doing that in 2022 next to or 2023 rather, next to Brock Bowers and 2022. I mean, like they've had him play that sort of role before, and I think he'll be a really good addition to someone's tight end room. I'm looking forward to, as we get closer to draft time, we'll be able to make more, I guess, thought out predictions, elaborate predictions on where these guys are going to go, what possible fits for them could be, because I'm excited about him. I think he's probably the most underrated Georgia prospect in this draft.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And yeah, and you mentioned Colby Young. I feel like that was the saltiest I was watching the draft over this past week, was just like, damn, Colby Young's so good. And we knew he was so good. And man, he would have helped Georgia's offense a lot if he would have been fully healthy this past year. So past 2 years, I think he would have, who knows what the 2024 and 2025 ceilings could have been on those teams if they had Colby Young down the stretch. So just disappointing because, yeah, I fully expect that guy to be, a player at the next level. But yeah, like you said, Zachariah Branch, 4.35. That was good to see. He's going to be a baller for somebody. I don't know. With, like you were talking about, like these new offenses just finding ways to use guys as weapons. It's like Zachariah Branch is a weapon. Like somebody, yeah, he's not like a traditional receiver, but somebody's gonna figure out a way to use him, and he's gonna be pretty dangerous.
Yeah, I got that is he's the weirdest one to me, Branch, because I just saw people his route tree got posted. Like it was like people went in and like mapped out each route he ran throughout his career at Georgia. Do you know what the percentage of screens his total what percentage of his total routes run were screens?
It's got to be what 75%.
It was 52%, but that's still
Okay.
insanely high. I mean, most of the routes he ran were just little screens. And so that kind of begs the question like, well, do we think that's because Zachariah Branch is not a very good NFL route runner who doesn't have an NFL route tree? Or is that a more product of, other contextual factors of Georgia's offense? Like they don't really trust Gunnar Stockton to drop back and throw the ball down the field, be a real down to down vertical passer. I kind of tend to err more towards the second thing, but I think that they're both probably a little bit true. And that kind of then makes you wonder like, well, I hate to use this word, but like, is he just kind of a gadget receiver? Is that somebody that you want to draft, with your day 2 pick or something like that? I don't know, because he's such a dynamic athlete and he really is a special guy with the ball in his hands. He just moves differently from most guys. He's a home run threat and all that good stuff. But it's like, NFL defenses have all sorts of remedies for guys like that. You got to be able to get open and create separation on your own in the NFL. And I guess we'll just have to see.
No, that's true. And like Mike Bobo in Georgia have been criticized for throwing too many screens for years. So I tend to think it's more of a product of Georgia, because like Georgia throws a lot of screens, and they did it even more when they had a guy as dynamic as Zachariah Branch. But yeah, I also don't think of gadget as being like a dirty word either. Like, I don't know, man. You're a gadget. Like teams can use you all different kinds of different ways. Like Deebo Samuel's a gadget, right? Like he was pretty productive for the 49ers for several years there, just finding different ways to get the guy the ball. Not saying he's going to be Deebo Samuel, but I don't know. You're probably right in terms of how teams view him in terms of the pros and the cons, but I do think he can be a game changer at the next level.
Yeah, I think so too, man. I mean, it all with all these guys, you can say it's like it all just depends on where they end up and how good the fit is and stuff. But there you gotta think that there are a couple NFL offensive coordinators out there who would love to get a player like Zachariah Branch in their hands, because you can do some pretty cool stuff with a guy who is that good after the catch and that electric. It just his versatility is the biggest question for me. Like, can he be an every down receiver in the NFL, a guy that can really command attention as a route runner and separator? Maybe he doesn't have to be that, but I think that question is going to be what determines how many opportunities he really gets.
Yeah, I think that's fair. We should also shout out Dylan Bell running a 4.5 with a 39-inch vertical. So that's pretty impressive from Dylan Bell, who I think is probably in the negative connotation, like you're saying, a gadget guy. Like yeah. I think he's a versatile player that can help teams. So I'm really interested to see where Dylan Bell ends up if he gets drafted. I would think he's a guy who probably gets drafted, but I don't know. He's a wouldn't be surprised if he could play running back at the next level. I don't know, man. He's a dynamic player.
Yeah. And I mean, I always would say when he was at Georgia that he probably should have been a running back, but he made some really great plays as a wideout this past season. I mean, like he was getting down the field and tracking balls and making some really nice catches and everything. So he does have a very diverse skill set. I'm sure someone can make him into a really good gunner on special teams or something like that. I mean, he can do a lot of things for you. He's a great, obviously tested well at the combine, but like I feel like if you were to go look at his tape, you wouldn't find anything that's like elite screams NFL trait. But he is well rounded enough, and he has the Georgia pedigree, and I'm sure he seems like a pretty hard worker. Seems like a team guy off the field. They asked him to do a lot of different things, and he did them without complaining. So I think with that in mind, he could help somebody out for sure. He'll at the very least he will get his fair shot to compete in camp.
Yeah, unless you turn on that 2023 Tennessee tape. That was the year I was like, okay, Dillon Bell might be an elite wide receiver. Like I was expecting a lot from Dillon Bell in 2024. That 2023. Say what now?
He threw a touchdown in that game.
That was the game where he threw a touchdown, and he was just Carson Beck made some of the best throws I've ever seen. Just some of the sideline throws, the catches in traffic he was making in that game. It was he balled out in that game. That was the one where they took the 80-yard touchdown run, like the first play of the game, and then basically did nothing for the next 58 minutes.
Yeah, that was a good Tennessee moment right there.
Yeah, that was a good one for sure. And then the last thing I'll say about the combine, I guess the revelation that CJ Allen was Georgia's defensive coordinator last season.
Yes, that was nuts.
That's pretty wild. I guess Glenn Schumann was just letting him run the show, which I think really just speaks to how our opinion of CJ Allen already was through the roof after this 2025 season. And that just speaks more to the Roquan Smith, Nakobe Dean type of comparisons.
Yeah, I mean, that guy's gonna ace all of his interviews with flying freaking colors, man. He might be the best interview in that entire combine. I mean, yeah, for them to come out of nowhere, I think it was Brett Coleman tweeted that, like, yeah, he made all of the checks and all of the calls for their defense, unless there was something like situational that Schumann was dying to call or whatever. They just kind of went hands off and let CJ Allen run the show. Like, that's crazy. I mean, that is super impressive for a guy who, started as a true freshman his first year and essentially just gained so much trust that they handed him the keys to the defense by the time he was a junior at the University of Georgia. I mean, at like one of the first schools you think of when you think of complicated, proud, vaunted defenses and everything. I mean, that's a huge deal, man, and that will only help drive his stock up even more because these off-ball linebackers have to have a lot of special things about them to be first-round prospects, and that right there is something special.
For sure. I think after this week, I feel probably even safer saying that Monroe Freeling and CJ Allen are the 2 first-rounders from Georgia in this year's draft. Yeah. And maybe someone else can sneak in there, like we talked about Dalen Everett or Zachariah Branch with good combines. But I think those 2 guys are probably the 2 safe bets for the first round.
Yeah, I think so too. Freeling is in a really deep tackle class and everything, so he might, I don't know where he lands on that big board ultimately, but tackle is just such a premium position already that someone's going to pick him in the first round. Someone for fifth year option reasons alone, but he's not even going to need that. I mean, he could be one of the first 3 tackles taken, and it wouldn't really surprise me, but this is a good draft for tackles.
It is. But let's keep it moving here on the show today, sir. Keep it in the college game, as opposed to the guys they're moving on from the college game. A few rule changes. I'm not going to get into all the proposed rule changes they've made for this upcoming season. I don't know if you've seen a few of these, but here's a couple that caught my eye. Offensive pass interference. Did you see this? Is now a 10-yard penalty instead of a 15-yard penalty. Does that do anything for you?
Yeah, that's fine by me.
You don't have much of an opinion on this? I've
always 15 kind of always seems like a lot, so I think 10's good. I think that's what it is in the NFL.
I do think it's an improvement. I've always had an issue with offensive pass interference, however, especially in college where it's 15 on the offense and 15 on the defense. It's like it makes sense when it's 15 on the offense when it's could be 50 or 45 on the defense with a spot foul, but I've always felt like it was kind of uneven. I personally think offensive power and it's 10 yards and not a loss of down. I think offensive pass interference should just be a loss of down. Like, I'm not sure there should be a yards attached to offensive pass interference. Like, the punishment is that the completion didn't count. Like, that's enough of a punishment to me. Like, yeah, you thought you got a completion, actually didn't count. It's second down now. Like, I feel like that, like a sack, or intentional grounding. Like, you think you're going to avoid a sack here? Actually, no. It's a loss of 7, and it's 2nd down. Like, you thought you were avoiding a sack. Well, now the penalty is essentially we're going to treat this as like a sack. Like, I think if you just treated offensive pass interference like an incompletion, maybe 5 yards, a loss of down. Like, I think the loss of down, just not getting the completion, is enough of a punishment.
But like a loss of down could be a worse punishment than knocking them back by the yards, depending on what down it is. Like if it's 3rd down, and a lot of teams, I think, depending on the situation and everything in the game, but like I feel like a lot of teams would rather have 3rd and 18 than 4th and 8.
Yeah, that's fair. I think, but doesn't that go to that the punishment like is valid? Because like offenses don't be pushing off, because this could be a loss of down. Like, I think that seems like serious enough. Like, the yards just don't make sense to me. That's just like you push off on a little pick play. It's like instead of like a 5-yard completion for a 1st down, now it's 3rd and 16 when it was like a 3rd and 1 or something. Like, that just never seemed to like punishment. That punishment just never seemed to fit the crime to me. I guess they made it 10 now, but yeah, that's fair in terms of your point with the loss of down. But that's just how I've always thought it.
I think I'm fine with it being like a 10-yard penalty. 15 seemed like a lot, so rule change is fine with me.
And yeah, and even if you have to replay it, you still don't get that completion. So it is still a punishment. But yeah, I think 15 was too strict. I think it was, or too harsh. I think that this is a move in the right direction. I wonder why there's no momentum for making defensive pass interference a spot foul in college. I don't know. That's one I go back and forth on. Like, the spot foul is like very harsh, and sometimes it kind of sucks in NFL games, but I don't know. There's many times where the 15 doesn't seem harsh enough for breaking up what could be a 30, 40-yard completion. It's only 15 yards. Like, yeah, you should probably do that more times. Like we said with that Ellis Robinson, where he got burned against Tennessee, like, just tackle the guy, and it's 15 yards instead of giving up a 60-yard touchdown or whatever that was in that game.
Yeah. I mean, those are always a case by case thing, I guess. I guess it's like fouling in basketball, where it's like, you got beat, so you might as well foul him and make him hit the free throws. And pass interference is like, oh, you got beat, you might as well give him 15 instead of 45. And like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like rules are always so in favor of the offense, no matter what. Like, I have no problem with the fact that the pass interference rule kind of favors defenses a little bit, because we should let them have something. They're not allowed to. I guess the NFL is worse about having like pro offensive rules that are just crazy. But even in college, it's like, man, you can't breathe on receivers sometimes. So I think 15 yards is okay.
That's fair. The other one that's the big rule that I am just not in favor. I think we're going the opposite direction with this one, is the targeting rules. So I don't know if you've seen these new targeting proposals, but your first targeting, and that means we're going to be tracking these like throughout the season for players. The first targeting, you sit out the rest of the game. Second targeting, you sit out the rest of that game, and then the first half of the next game. And your third targeting offense, you sit out the entire next game. And I just feel like we're just moving in the wrong direction with this. Like, a 15-yard penalty is a legitimate penalty. Like, and more importantly, I feel like you could make an argument that they needed the harsh penalty for targeting to first introduce the rule. But now they've successfully changed defensive backs' behavior in the secondary. Yeah. They're not trying to headhunt like they once did. It feels like now we can soften it up. It's like, okay, everyone gets it, how we want the game of football to be played more. It needs to be like a flagrant 1, flagrant 2 situation. Like, yeah, you can what I don't understand is that a 15-yard penalty on the defense is a very like big deal. Like, this idea that we're like a 15-yard penalty isn't enough. Like, a guy does not want to give up 15 yards. He's not just going to decapitate somebody and just accept a 15-yarder. Like, I think 15 yards is enough. It's like, if it's truly dirty, eject him. I think the what am I trying to say? Threshold for like the flagrant 2 should be very high, because you just shouldn't be getting ejected for doing football. You know what I mean? Like, when you hit someone in the nuts, take a cheap shot, like that's the kind of stuff, spit in someone's face, that's the kind of stuff you get ejected for. Like you're not playing the game. Like, but if you just hit a guy a couple inches higher or lower than you should have hit him, it's like, come on now. Why are we ejecting people for playing football?
Yeah, I hate targeting. I mean, targeting sucks. Like, I feel like that's not an unpopular opinion. The rules is just annoying. Um, yeah, I mean, I know they're trying to change it just because they want to do everything they can in football to reduce head injuries or whatever without actually admitting that head injuries are a problem. So they're just going to keep doing stuff like this. But yeah, I mean, targeting is the worst penalty in football across either level. I mean, I think it's worse than some of those roughing the passer penalties you see in the NFL.
I was gonna say those NFL roughing the passers can be terrible.
Yeah, but like throwing a kid out of the game when 95% of the time the hit does not have malicious intent. It's just the way that those split-second plays go. It sucks. It's a bad rule. It's annoying that they're only continuing to make it stronger and make the penalties harsher because none of the fans want this, but they don't care about what the fans want. They haven't for quite some time. So
I'm with you, man. It's about liability and lawsuits and that sort of thing. But yeah, I don't know if these new rules are gonna pass, but we shall see. Oh, the other one is I think guys have to wear like tights or socks now. Like they can't be showing the legs. Sure. I don't know. I always thought that was cool about college football. You know, guys rocking mid, low socks, whatever. One leg sleeve. I don't know, whatever you're trying to do. But no, they want more uniformity, I guess.
Yeah, I don't like. I mean, well, like, why are you making rules about uniforms and stuff, man? Just let them wear whatever equipment. Like, no one's gonna watch the TV and be like, "Oh my god, that guy is showing his like."
Other than maybe like the thigh high like short shorts that were kind of going that were kind of getting out of control this past year. But yeah, I don't get anything other than that.
Yeah, I don't either, man. That's why I miss Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson wore whatever he wanted so much to the point where the NBA like tried to institute a dress code. And then there was so much backlash against it that now there's no more dress code in the NBA. We need that in college football. We need the Allen Iverson of college football.
Yeah, I like the one leg sleeve and stuff. You know, show your personality. You know, show a little swagger. Whatever you're trying to do. But let's keep it moving, sir. It is officially March. What is it? March 2nd on the calendar today. So college basketball, sir. The Dawgs could be dancing for a second straight year, and that's we haven't been able to say that in Athens, Georgia, in recent years. The most recent bracketology, which I believe came out actually before Saturday's win over South Carolina, had Georgia as a 9 seed and one of the last 4 buys in Joe Lunardi's bracketology. So last 4 buys, essentially there's last 4 in, and then the last 4 buys. So it has Georgia in that, 5 to 8 group, I guess, in terms of being the last teams in the tournament. They play Alabama, number 16 Alabama tomorrow, and then Mississippi State on Saturday, and that's the end of the regular season. But what were your thoughts? What are your thoughts on Georgia basketball so far?
Oh man, they're definitely trending in the right direction. I was kind of out on them, I think, the last time we talked about Georgia basketball, but they've strung together some good wins. They're beating the teams they're supposed to. They looked good against South Carolina on what was that, Saturday? I didn't get to watch much of that game, and I watched half of it, and I know South Carolina is not a very good team anyway. But no, Georgia. I mean, you gotta give them credit. This has been put up or shut up time for them for the past month or so. They don't really have a lot of margin for error in SEC play, and they're playing like it. They're putting together results. So yeah, that Kentucky win was huge. I think that was the big one that kind of showed me that, okay, there's still more to be said about this team and everything. And I mean, man, there were just a few rebounds and everything that didn't go their way against Vanderbilt. They came back to tie that game after being down 20, and then just could not. They they either couldn't get a stop, or when they did get a stop, Vanderbilt was there for the rebound. So that's just a frustrating game, and stuff like that might kind of be their undoing in the long run. But they got a huge test tomorrow night against Alabama, so we'll have to see how they come out looking in that one. But that'll be a big one, man. That'll be huge. Every game's huge for them now.
Yeah, Alabama and the Steg. Actually, see, I don't know if every game is huge to this point. I think they might be in regardless. I think, Mississippi State's not very good. So, you lose to Alabama, Mississippi State down the stretch, you're kind of, playing with fire there. But I do think they should be in the tournament. And then maybe you lose the first game of the tournament. That would be the worst case scenario. I think they're really the only scenario where they get left out. But yeah, I mean, if they somehow knock off Alabama, I think they definitely clinch a tournament tournament appearance. But yeah, if they lose to Alabama at home, that's probably what's supposed to happen, and then just beat Mississippi State, finish the season 21-10. I think that team, and then whatever they do in the tournament, I think that team is going to the tournament. But like you said, we were a little out on them a few weeks ago. From January 24th to February 14th, they lost 5 out of 6. And Jeremiah Wilkerson missed the last 2 of those losses. And I think we were not really sure what this team was going to be down the stretch. But since Jeremiah Wilkerson has been back the last 4 games, Georgia's 3-1. Wilkerson's averaging 21 points per game off the bench, and he's shooting 47% on threes, 15 of 32 from 3 in the last 4 games. So as long as Jeremiah Wilkerson is getting buckets off the bench, I think this team can keep is going to get to the tournament.
Yeah, I think it's Wilkinson, but yeah, I agree. I mean, he's been their most dynamic scorer. They've looked like a different offense since he's come back, and I mean, they have them like guys that can score and create their own shot has never been their issue. Wilkinson can do that for you. Cannon catching, since that stretches where he's gone off this year. Smurf Millender has taken over games at points, and even Blue Kane. I mean, Blue Kane his 3-ball has fallen off a cliff, but he can shoot. He can shoot. I mean, or he can score around the rim really well. I mean, like even he has had some ferocious drives to the basket. So they've got guys, and obviously Wilkinson is definitely their best like instant offense guy. But to me, it's just it all comes down to rebounding and guarding with these guys. That's what the issue I have is like Santos Surreal gets in so much foul trouble that it kind of offsets his defensive impact sometimes. And, he's off the floor for some of these later games stretches because he's in foul trouble. And then that affects their rebounding. They don't have a really good rebounder aside from him. And even Surreal's rebounding leaves a little bit to be desired. So that's kind of where I think they're lacking. But when they need to play catch up and hit a bunch of, step back 3 or whatever, like they've been able to do that. It's just the Vanderbilt game you kind of saw, like they were in the game because of their scoring, but Vanderbilt was ultimately able to outlast them because they were just getting these critical rebounds and they were getting stops when Georgia wasn't really getting stops. So we're at the point in the season where it just kind of feels like that's kind of what this team is. That's not just going to magically appear out of nowhere at this point in the year, but they are playing some good ball right now. And I hope that they're able to avoid foul trouble and rebound better going forward.
For sure. The games where Surreal gets in foul trouble, it's just Georgia has no replacement. They just don't have enough size to consistently compete with teams. But yeah, just to get back to the tournament, should just be good vibes, and hopefully you don't get down 28-2 or whatever the hell the score was in that Gonzaga game that was just over before it even started. Hopefully, get in the tournament, have a little more fun this time, play a 40-minute game with somebody. But that's all we got for basketball, sir. FanDuel, as you know, is the brings you this show, and we want to give a shout out to our FanDuel odds here. So you see the Braves here in the background.
Yes.
Let's give the folks the World Series odds at this point of the season. So, you've seen pitchers and catchers and spring training get started and everything. I know you saw Ronald Acuna hit that grand slam the other day. That was great to see. But right now, as as you might guess, sir, this team called the Los Angeles Dodgers. They are actually the current favorite to win the World Series. Go figure again. Plus 210 right now, the Dodgers. The Yankees are the next highest team in the odds, plus 1,000. That's just a massive difference between the first and second team and the preseason betting odds. But yeah, Seattle Mariners, New York Mets, Philadelphia Phillies, all right up there. And then the to round out the top 5. But Mets and Phillies at plus 1,300 and sorry, Mets at plus 1,300 and Phillies at plus 1,600. Then you got to go down 8th best odds to win the World Series at plus 1,800, the Atlanta Braves. So $100 bet on those Bravos will win you $1,800. So, maybe a good team to buy low on. I don't know if the Braves have any starting pitching left by the time the season starts with some of the injuries they've had. But yeah, man, that's a FanDuel minute here. Gamble responsibly, all that good stuff. But if you're going to take a long shot on someone, not biased back here or anything, but the Atlanta Braves seem like a good team to take a shot on.
Yeah, they just need some semblance of a rotation going into the year. I guess Bryce Elder will be back and as a starting pitcher for this team, but hope everyone can stay somewhat healthy this year and gamble responsibly.
For sure. And I love me some Shohei Ohtani. He's just the most incredible talent we've ever seen in Major League Baseball. But I don't know. I think if the Dodgers win another World Series, I don't know. I think the rest of Major League Baseball might just riot. I don't know. This team is too good. They have too many good players. I don't know. We got to do something about this. Yeah. But this is a college football show here, and that's all I'll talk baseball here for now. But our main event here on the show, we did this a few weeks ago with our running back draft of the Kirby Smart era. We are going to do our Kirby Smart era wide receiver draft today on the show, sir. And I gave you the first pick last time. So last 2 times, actually. I guess you earned the first pick the second time with your victory in the first one. But I'm going to take the first pick in this one, which might be easy to outsiders, but I think from a Georgia perspective, not super easy when you talk about college production versus how good they actually are, just straight up talent. But I think we're going more on the straight up talent, how good these players are. And I got to go with big number 1, George Pickens, first overall in my Kirby Smart era wide receiver draft. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's an easy choice, man. I mean, the only reason he wasn't quite as productive as you might expect is just because he had the ACL in 2021. And then even then, he managed to come back for the national championship and haul in one of the biggest plays of the game. And I guess by association in Georgia history, and he led the team in receiving in 2019 on this awful team, awful offense, I guess. Comes in 2020 off to kind of a slow start because of the quarterback situation being weird, but then by the end of the year, just a complete monster. I mean, he had some huge games at the end of that year. I think of the Chick-fil-A Bowl, definitely. So, yeah, I think he's easily the best receiver of the Kirby Smart era, the most talented. Obviously, what he's done in the NFL since then speaks for itself, but sick player, fan favorite, and everything. Yeah. George Pickens.
True number 1 guy on the outside for sure. We'll say underwhelming offense in 2019, but this team did go 12-2, and they were. No, it definitely was. The James Coley led offense that year was not great. But who you got with your first round pick here in the wide receiver draft?
I'm gonna go Ladd McConkey. I think that's the natural next choice. I mean, filthiest route runner to ever come through Georgia. Dynamic athlete with the ball in his hands, without the ball in his hands, getting separation. Incredibly quick. Played a huge role on 2 national championship teams. Another guy who his production was limited by injuries and wasn't as much as it could have been in terms of output, but I just always think that the attention that he commanded from defenses and his ability to just run routes on a complete tightrope. I mean, it was always a pleasure watching Lad McConkey play football. He was just one of the most precise players I have ever seen, and another guy who kind of went on to validate all of that stuff in the NFL. I mean, he's just a baller, another fan favorite. His name is Lad McConkey, and yeah, I got him as my first rounder.
Yeah, no arguments here. I think the only other guy I really thought of about going instead of Pickens was Lad McConkey. But you're right, he didn't necessarily have the 3 years of production, like a guy that was as good as his actual skill set was. But yeah, no argument here with McConkey, second overall. Just super dynamic, just change of direction. Yeah, love Lad McConkey. Definitely a fan favorite.
Mm-hmm. So are we doing a snake or are you picking?
Yeah, you got the first pick of the second round here.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to go with another guy who maybe this might be the most clutch receiver in Georgia football history. Made some of the biggest plays ever. And I'm of course talking about A.D. Mitchell. I know that he transferred to Texas, did not end his career as a Bulldog, but I don't care. That another guy who came out of nowhere as a freshman, burst onto the scene. I think he was a 3-star recruit. And,
So.
he winds up, and kind of being their X receiver for a lot of that year. This really rangy, long-limbed athlete who is a lot stronger than he gets credit for. I think he had a bit of a wiry frame at times during his time at Georgia, but man, he came out and made some of the biggest plays in the history of Georgia football. I mean, I always think of the 40-yard touchdown in the Natty where Bennett puts the deep ball down there and Mitchell just perfectly tracks it, gets the feet in, touchdown. And then of course you got the game winner in the Peach Bowl, which came after, he was kind of MIA for long stretches of that year because he had some weird injury stuff, but he comes back and he makes that play. Just a beast. I mean, I feel like what he did at Georgia and the plays he made kind of speak for themselves. He's an easy second round pick for me, the Kirby Smart era. I almost thought about taking him over McConkey just because of the weight of some of those plays that he made.
Yeah, that's a good call. He's honestly one I kind of forgot about. Like I made my list and I was like, oh shoot, where do I put A.D. Mitchell? Like yeah, like you said, is the national championship the one to take the lead in the national championship? Is that the biggest catch of A.D. Mitchell's career?
It's either that or the Peach Bowl catch.
The Ohio State, the game winner? Yeah. Those are two just massive two of the biggest wins of the entire Kirby Smart era where he had the game-winning touchdown. You can't really ignore that.
Yeah. Two of the biggest plays in the history of the program, man, which I mean, and he transferred and everything, but there were no hard feelings with the transfer. And and I think that was because Georgia fans were able to recognize this guy has done so much for us already. This guy has made some of the biggest plays ever. And he's earned the right. But yeah, really explosive guy, real good at with when making contested catches, and just always got open at the right moments. So I feel like you got to go A.D. Mitchell there.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all. So this guy I was not expecting to be on the board at my pick because I did not think you were going to A.D. Mitchell the second. So I got to go with the guy with the single season receptions record, the one and done from 2025. I got to go with your boy, Zachariah Branch.
My boy?
I feel like Zachariah Branch is your boy. You were so high on him coming into the year.
I was coming into the year, yeah. I have weird feelings about his draft stock now, but yes, that was my guy. He changed the offense more than I ever even could have thought he would, man. I mean, you said it. The single season reception record. I know a lot of those were screens and dump offs and essentially long handoffs, but still, who knows what that Georgia offense would have looked like in 2025 without Zachariah Branch. I don't think it would look very good. And I am, side note, but I am a little concerned about what it will look like this year without him.
Yeah, you and me both, sir. Zachariah Branch, you couldn't have designed a better player to fit into what Georgia wanted to do this year, and it puts me in a little bit of a weird position here because I'm just trying to build a receiving core here, and so your pick of AD Mitchell is making me reshift my draft board here because now I got George Pickens and I got Zachariah Branch. I mean, that's just the best of both right now.
Yeah.
So which direction do I go? I think I want another big guy on the outside. I'm gonna go back to 2017. I'm gonna get Javon Wims on my squad here.
Dang. Okay. Yeah, that's I was thinking about him as my sleeper. I didn't think you were gonna pick him that early, man. But yeah, that's another guy who knows what that team would have looked like without him because he was just this big bodied contested catch specialist guy who was also the veteran in the room. He's a JUCO product and I just remember him being such a steady presence on that team, where they're starting a true freshman at quarterback. And there's all these, uncertainties about what that's going to look like if they can trust Fromm to go a whole year, even with Chubb and Michelle in the backfield, of course. Those were probably the main two steady hands that they had on that team. But when it was when it was a passing down and Georgia needed a play, that was who they would go to. Wims was the guy. He had a big touchdown in the Rose Bowl. Was he the leading receiver for that team? He had to be, right?
Yeah, I'm almost positive he was. I don't have his numbers right in front of me for that season. I'll try to pull that up real quick. But yeah, and just the design of the team, like, not that I want to compare a Georgia team to a Georgia Tech team, but like the first year of Paul Johnson, where they're obviously running the triple option and doing all that stuff, obviously running the ball first. You had Bebe Thomas out there on the outside. That's like, you kind of have to keep defenses honest when you have a first round pick at wide receiver, even though you run the triple option. It's like that 2017 team, 1,200-yard rushers, right? I think Chubb is like 13 something. I think Sonny Michel's like 1,200 something. You knew teams were going to be loading the box, and you had to have got a big body who could win one-on-one matchups, and that's what you had with Javon Wims. So yeah, I'm especially with how it fits cohesively. Big fan of this Javon Wims pick.
Yeah, I just looked. He led the team in yards, catches, and touchdowns. So he triple crowned on that team.
Okay, 45 for 720 and 7 touchdowns. That's probably one of the more productive years as far as the Kirby Smart receiver goes.
He was never the best separator, never the most dynamic athlete, but you'd be hard to find when you just need to catch a ball and you just can get a one-on-one matchup on the outside, you'd be hard pressed to find somebody better than Javon Wims. So
yeah, when we were talking to Kyrus Jackson last week, he shouted out that catch he had at Tennessee where he just went up and just contested catch, just rose up over the defender. I want to say, actually, that may have been Shaq Wiggins that he rose up on. That I'm thinking about it, the former Georgia Bulldog. Did he end up at Tennessee or Louisville? I don't know. He was all over the place. But yeah, shout out to Javon Wims for sure.
Yeah, man. All right, so for my next, I got 2 picks, right?
Yes, sir.
So, okay. If I'm here building a receiver core, I do need a bigger guy. But you got the 2 good X receivers. You already got Pickens and Wims.
Yes, sir.
So, I don't really want to pick Lawrence Cager. No offense, but I just don't think Lawrence Cager is as good of a player as some of these other guys. So I'm honestly going to say screw it in terms of trying to build out a room, and I'm just going to pick the best player that is left here, and that is Mecole Hardman Jr. The most explosive guy I think I've ever seen on Georgia, aside from maybe Branch. I'm also biased because I work for the Elberton Star, and he's the pride of Elbert County. He's a Blue Devil legend. They've got his number retired. Everyone knows and loves Mecole up there in Elberton, Georgia. But aside from that, man, track star speed on the field. Also, just way better after the catch than he ever got credit for. I mean, great dynamic return man, the best return man of the Kirby Smart era for sure. I think he was a pretty strong guy, and for my money, Miko Hardman is the best deep threat of the Kirby Smart era, even with Pickens and McConkey there. I mean, that guy just had the ability to take a top off the defense like nobody's business, and that opened up so much underneath. I mean, that was really hard. It was hard to defend that year that Georgia had Chubb and Michelle, and then the year after it was Swift and Holyfield. Like, defenses had to be a little less hesitant to stack the box, and they had to think about having a higher safety up there just because they knew that Hardman is liable to run a post at any time and just cook you and burn you. I don't know how many 40-plus receptions he had in his career, but I imagine he's probably up there all time for Georgia players in that category. Just a big play threat. His 80-yard touchdown against Alabama in the national championship would have gone down as one of the most legendary Georgia plays ever had Georgia ended up winning that game. And yeah, Miko was an absolute dog. Super fun to watch, super dynamic. I think part of the reason I was so high on Branch coming into the year was because I just kept thinking about Hardman. Those guys who are home run threats and could score anytime they touch the ball are sometimes the most fun football players to root for. So yeah, I got Miko on my team. So I got a lot of speed. I got McConkey, Mitchell, and Miko.
That's true. I like it, man. Miko Hardman, I actually went to his signing day. I was covering it for school when I was in college. And so same day, Miko Hardman signing announcement it was the same day as Derek Brown. So I went from Elbert County to Lanier High School. Luckily, Georgia got one of those guys. I remember he had like 5 cakes set up and none of them were Georgia. It was like Clemson, Ohio State, Alabama. And I was like, well, Georgia's definitely one of the options. Like, what is happening here? So then he runs out in the Georgia jersey and everything. Core memory of my time as a Georgia fan for sure. But yeah, he's one of those that I really wish would have come back for his senior year. I definitely don't think he should have in terms of his career earnings and everything that happened in his career. He was able to be a contributor really early on those Chiefs Super Bowl teams. But just the fact that 2018 team was so loaded with like really good players, and they all left. They lost the top 4 receivers and the tight end from that year. So if you could add Hardman back in 2019, I think that would have been big, and he could have had like his 1 year of kind of being the more of the go-to guy in the offense because he was just super dynamic, and he didn't have the punt return numbers that some other guys have, like in touchdowns. But man, I swear he was one step away from breaking like every damn punt return he ever took. Like it was like he picked up 15, 20 yards like every time and he almost took it to the house.
Yeah, I think he had 1 in his career, maybe 2.
I think it was 1 because it was like a cupcake game, I think.
Yeah, I think it was no. I was gonna say Louisiana Lafayette, but that was McKenzie because I was at that game.
I was thinking Buffalo off the top of my head. I don't know if that's true.
That was Gurley did that.
Gurley did do Buffalo. Did
Buffalo but it had to be against some ham sandwich school. But yeah, so I've got one more pick here.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess all you got all the traditional classic X receivers, and I've got a bunch of relatively smaller, compact, speedy separators. I don't have a lot of dog mentality guys as much. I guess they're all dog mentality guys, but you know what I mean. So I could reach here.
Before you say that, he took his punt back against Middle Tennessee State. So it was a blue team. That's what I was thinking.
Okay, Middle Tennessee.
2018.
So I could reach here and go for like a Lawrence Cager or like a Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint if I was really worried about having like someone be that guy, that line of scrimmage bulldozer or whatever.
Okay.
But I'm not as worried about that as I am about just picking the best player that I can. So I'm going to try to kind of honor the 2 disciplines of need versus best player available and go with someone who I think is one of the more underrated Georgia players of the last decade. I am going to go with Riley Ridley with my last.
Ooh.
The brother of Calvin, which is a label I'm sure he would hate to hear me say because he spent a lot of time playing his ass off to try to get people to not say that about him. But I think this is another guy that was really slept on. A very smooth, fluid athlete. I feel like always just, was very clean, breaking in and out of his routes. Always just was hard to knock off his base, and you didn't see a lot of flubs from him ever. He really looked the part. I think he's about 200 pounds, so he ain't the biggest guy in the world, but he's gonna be my X receiver here. Riley Ridley used to always just catch some of these beautiful back shoulder catches, man, back shoulder balls from Jake Fromm, and I just always have those memories that memory of Riley Ridley, catching a fade route just like this. And I think he's pretty slept on. He was the leading receiver for the team in 2018 and had a really great game in the SEC title game that year. They lost. A lot of Riley Ridley's best moments as Bulldog have come in shocking losses. Tennessee touchdown he scored. 2016, seconds before disaster struck on the other end. But I think Riley Ridley is a very underappreciated player. Maybe just because he didn't go on to have the NFL career some of these guys did, and because he wasn't on a national title team like some of these other guys. But he was just super solid and super reliable in his time at Georgia, and I'm happy to make him my last pick because he slept on me.
Wait, that's your fourth pick. You still got one more.
My fourth pick. Oh, I got one more. Okay, wait.
Yes.
Who I got? AD, McConkey, Hardman. Yeah, you're right. I got one more.
Ridley. Okay. I was like, oh, did I fuck up? Yeah. All right. Yeah, Riley Ridley's a good call. Like I was talking about that 2018 wide receiver core. And yeah, like you said, he led that team in receiving. Maybe I'm just greedy, but I would have loved to have Mecole Hardman and Riley Ridley back in that 2019 because he was only like a third rounder, I think maybe fourth round.
Fourth, yeah.
Yeah, it's like leaving early to be a fourth round pick. Like, I would have loved to see Riley Ridley for another year, but yeah, that's a good call. He was just a real physical receiver, made it like tough contested catches. I think that fits what your team needs right now with with some of that speed. So I thought you were gonna go a different guy when you were talking about how underrated he was, but I think you're right. I think Riley Ridley is an underrated guy. I think I'm gonna have to go with the guy that barely snuck into the Kirby Smart era. 2016, the leader in receiving. I'm gonna have to go with the human joystick himself, Isaiah McKenzie, sir. I think with
that's a steal.
With Pickens and Wims out wide and Branch and McKenzie as my playmakers or my gadget guys, I think we got a really dangerous squad here.
Yeah, that's a steal. I mean, Isaiah McKenzie was freaking electric, man. That's another guy. Yeah, I guess he is kind of on the underrated side, but he's not underrated to me personally because I just remember like Isaiah McKenzie was one of my guys growing up. I mean, he was just so much fun to watch. In a lot of ways, I think Hardman is kind of a souped up version of him, and you could kind of say that about Branch too, but I really think it applies with Hardman. But another guy who, I mean, like, dude, pound for pound, he's probably the best receiver here. I mean, he just this super small guy who made big plays. You think about that 2016 game winner against Missouri that he had with Jacob Eason.
Yes.
I guess I kind of headcanon him as a Richt guy, but he counts as a Kirby Smart era player. He was there for year one of Kirby Smart, and he played a big role in it. So I like that pick a lot. I think that's a steal for you.
No, that's fair. He could be a Richt guy, but we'll give him his 1 year with Kirby and the gang. And then the last one, man, I really went back and forth with this last pick because we got a friend of the pod here now that's up for this pick, but I got some of those smaller receivers. So with all due respect, Kearis Jackson, I think I need one more big guy. I'm gonna go with Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint.
Okay.
If we're gonna be throwing a lot of screens to Branch and McKenzie, we need a solid blocker out there as well as a physical receiver on the outside. So give me Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint.
Yeah, that's a good pick. He's not the flashiest guy, didn't put up the best numbers, but man, he did all the little things well. Really good blocker on the perimeter, really strong hands. I mean, you could throw up anything to him and feel like he had a shot at bringing it down. Also a great story. I mean, he came back from a gnarly injury against Florida in the cocktail party on like a 30-yard touchdown catch. And
Yeah.
I mean, people were really questioning, what was he going to come back and play football again? Is he going to come back and play a prominent role ever again? And he came back and was really good and was a really important part of Georgia's 2023 offense, especially. And he was sorely missed in 2024. So,
Yeah, I think so.
Let me see. So I got one more pick.
So this is the fifth and final pick here, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I am gonna go with Kearis Jackson. I didn't really have a dedicated slot guy yet. I mean, you could put McConkey out there, but the best thing about McConkey is you can line him up anywhere. Mitchell is definitely an outside guy. Hardman is an outside guy. So is Ridley. So I need somebody to come in, hold it down in the slot, do the little things, get open across the middle, and then right when you're starting to settle down in the middle, start to run a really deep over route or a post or something and make a play that way. Kearis, I mean, I'm getting a leading receiver from a team with my last pick, which I always think is which is nice. So did you. So I'll take that. But yeah, Kearis Jackson, friend of the show, made some clutch plays, had a 35-yard catch against Ohio State. That ended up being one of the biggest plays of that game. Could also help me out on special teams if I needed that from this receiver core in any capacity. He was always just one of those guys that was willing to come in and help out whenever, and made some big plays along the way. So happy to have Kearis as the final guy capping off my team here.
I like it, man. Kearis, we appreciate, of course, him coming on the show and everything last week. But like you said, the leading receiver in 2020, part of 2 national title teams. I guess now I look at this, not a lot of these guys that made our team were actually part of both title teams. I guess you have 3 members of both championship teams.
Yeah.
I just have Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint is the only one I have that was on both teams. So yeah, looking at this, the way it stacks up, I definitely like my squad here, but you have an interesting team as well with McConkey and AD Mitchell. Like AD Mitchell, I do wonder if it's honestly just looking at this list. I know the 1,000-yard receiver thing is like a thing for Georgia fans. It's like, oh, when are we gonna have another 1,000? It's kind of bizarre how like bad of luck they've had with some of the best receivers they've ever had. Like on top of AJ Green, like we're not even talking about AJ Green having 3 years where he didn't get to 1,000. I think he may have had 3 900-yard seasons. Just something happened every year, whether it was quarterback play, signing autographed jerseys and whatever, getting suspended, had some injuries. Like George Pickens had obviously rough quarterback play in 2020, and then his 2021 season with the ACL, battled back to help that team win a championship. McConkey had injuries. AD Mitchell he played like 4 or 5 games in 2022 before transferring to Texas as a junior. Like Mecole Hardman played cornerback as his first year on campus. And then, then he had 2 years of producing. It's like, Georgia hasn't, for whatever reason, had as much success with the wide receiver position, even though they had some super talented guys come through.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a good. I mean, they have had some crazy receivers who have not had the greatest stat lines, and also you can't for some of the guys on my team, you also can't ignore the Brock Bowers of it all. I mean, that was the guy who was catching all the passes, but yeah, they've just had some great players and some weird finicky quarterback play at times, and some injuries at other times, and then you have other things happening too. But they again they stacked up all that talent and they won those championships for a reason. They've had some ridiculous guys, Pickens was a beast at Georgia, and the fact that he's even better in the NFL is pretty crazy to me. I mean, I know the Cowboys tagged him or whatever, and he's dealing with all that right now. But yeah, Georgia, that 1,000-yard receiver will come, because if they keep getting guys like this, it's just a matter of time, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. And looking at these two teams, I don't know how far this goes in our evaluation process, but I have 3 guys that were number 1.
I was looking at that. Yeah,
I think that's gotta be heavily weighted, right?
Your team has more aura than mine, because you got
there's something to it here. And let's see how the stats stack up here, sir. So this isn't necessarily how we were doing it. Insanely close in terms of receptions. My team had 3 more receptions.
Oh, wow.
You had like 400 more yards, 500 more total yards, and then you had 9 more touchdowns. So, and that's where they got like AD Mitchell, and not a lot of production out of how talented a guy like he is. But looking at, I did a little mock draft, kind of preparing for who each of us would pick and who would still be available and everything like that. I'm shocked that the other guy I would call your boy was Colby Young. I was a little surprised Colby Young didn't make your list.
In a perfect world, Colby Young would definitely be on here, but he only played a handful of games with Georgia. Yeah, I can't pick a guy off of what I think he would have done had he not had a bunch of stuff happen. I think he would have been one of the best Georgia receivers of the Kirby Smart era for sure, and he probably still is in terms of pure talent, but Colby Young just got robbed of all of that, man, and it sucks, and I hope he gets drafted.
Yeah, I think that's fair. He was a super talented player in his time at Georgia, and things could have gone better for sure. I'm looking at how who we left off now in our list here. Just looking at the in terms of just career numbers at Georgia. So let me see here. So just in terms of cumulative numbers, the best receiver that we left off is Terry Godwin. So I thought when you were talking about Riley Ridley, I thought Terry Godwin is the guy you were going to say. So he had 1,700 yards, 12 touchdowns in his time at Georgia.
Yeah, if he were a little bigger, I would have picked him. But I picked Ridley because Ridley had more size, which is kind of what I needed. But Godwin's so underrated, we didn't even pick him.
Yeah, if I didn't already have Branch and McKenzie, those little kind of change of pace, and obviously he wasn't like the same type of guy. He's more of a almost a hybrid. Wasn't really big, wasn't small. He kind of did a lot.
He played a lot bigger than he was.
Yeah, that's true too. The next in terms of production that we left off, Arian Smith, over 1,300 yards and 10 touchdowns. You talk about deep threat now. That might be the best deep threat Georgia had in Kirby Smart's time. Other than the fact that, the reception wasn't always guaranteed, but no one got open downfield like Arian Smith.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you saw that in some big spots as well. And he led a team in receiving in 2024. But, of course, Arian Smith was not exactly a fan favorite in his time at Georgia, although, obviously, I think he was treated too harshly. But he was caught in a weird year for that to be his number 1 receiver year.
Yeah, that's true. It's funny. I think maybe the 2024 season, we have weird feelings about the 2024 season because 3 of the 4 most productive guys we left off were on that 2024 team. So Dylan Bell would be next and Dom Lovett after that. So Dylan Bell, over 1,200 yards, 16 touchdowns in his time at Georgia. Dominic Lovett, 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns. And then you go, the next one we left off after that is Jermaine Burton. I don't think anyone was going to pick Jermaine Burton, even though he was part of a championship team. Things didn't end on the best note with Jermaine Burton turning his back on Georgia and ended up with the Crimson Tide.
They did not.
But that's all I got. Anything else you want to add, sir?
I think that's all I got.
All right, sir. folks, tell us who won. Get in there in the comments. I think Team Green. I feel pretty confident about Team Green's squad right here. Lawrence Cager was also a good shout out. I didn't even have him on my list. Definitely an underrated 2019 performance he had. But yeah, that's all we got for the show tonight. I appreciate everyone who's tuning in, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And like I said, wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, all that good stuff, check us out. Check out Voice of College Football. Check out Georgia Bulldogs live. Come to you every Monday at 7:00. So for that guy over there, Bo Underwood, I am Matt Green. As always, go Dogs.
Dogs.
Hey, y'all. This is Grant Sassery of LSU at the Voice of College Football Network. I'm